Happy Wednesday. This is our Wellness Wednesday, and I'm your host, Stefana Johnson, and we're going to talk about breaking through those plateaus, especially weight loss plateaus. I hear about them. I understand them. The weight loss is definitely a key piece of it, but I want to also talk about health and fitness plateaus and address them. I'm really going to focus on that this month. And in fact, I've created an amazing guide that walks you through the steps, and I will make sure you get the link for that, and you can get a copy of that as my gift to you. I'll give that to you at the end of this. And right now I want to talk about weight first, because this is one of the biggest struggles people have. Is they'll go to their scale and they'll keep seeing the same number or right around that same number, and they just feel like maybe they've come from dropping 20 pounds or a big weight loss, and then all of a sudden it just feels like it's stuck. And there are several reasons why that could happen. You know, depending on what your circumstance and situation is, this is something you want to evaluate for yourself. But the first thing I want to say is that don't make it mean something bad. It doesn't have to mean that. It can actually be an opportunity. In fact, I love looking at it as this is an opportunity for you to reassess what's going on. For me as a coach, I love when my clients talk about this and bring me problems, because I'm definitely results oriented and focused on solutions. So then I can uncover and unpack what's going on as an underlying cause. And knowing from my full experience on this, 30 years working with people, weight loss should be effortless. It should never be a struggle. There should never be this, ugh. And if there's something going on that's not optimal. So if we fix that, then it's effortless again. And so these plateaus are actually opportunities to grow. They're opportunities for you to reassess. So here are the top ones that come up. Oftentimes, if you're stuck at a weight, this could be water weight. People will weigh themselves every day, sometimes multiple times a day. This is a no-no. You don't want to be weighing yourself multiple times a day. In fact, there's no reason for you to be weighing yourself more than once a week. If you're doing a retreat or you're working with a coach on a daily basis, where, for example, when I'm doing client retreats and we're doing daily, looking at all their numbers, I will look at that weight for one reason only, and that's to see if they're getting enough fat. That's the number one reason I would look at it when I'm doing a detox protocol or I'm doing a specific protocol in a setting where that number is important. But generally, that number is not an important one for you to be looking at. The number you want to be looking at is the inch or your circumference around your waist. You want to be looking at how your pants are fitting, that kind of thing. And you also want to be noticing how you're feeling. But let's just stick with the weight right now, because that's a big piece of the problem for people right now. Ideally take those tips that I've just suggested, but look at then also the number. If the number continues to creep up or it stays stuck for a time and you've been tweaking it, the other things you would look at would be, have you increased your portions and maybe aren't aware of it? Have you started eating later, where maybe a snack before bed? Because a lot of times that will creep up. Have you increased your carbohydrate or sugar intake? With that, what happens oftentimes, because the body uses sugar first as fuel, and when I say sugar, it's going to be anything. So let's say you have this amazing meal and it's all these nutrients, and then you finish it off with a cookie. That cookie is going to be used as fuel for your body first, and it's not optimal fuel. It's like throwing a piece of toilet paper on a fire. It's going to go, duh. No energy, no fuel, no heat coming from that food. We're not going to get energy. And remember, calories, that's the number that they assign to fuel or energy that we use in our body. And you want nutrient-dense food. So again, let's say you took that delicious, let's say you had an amazing salad or some vegetables, asparagus, and maybe some chopped fresh wild caught a steak or something, and Yeah, and that was your delicious meal, and they're like, oh, you felt good, and then you went and they had cookies laid out, and you had one cookie. Again, the body's going to use that cookie, and everything else is stored because the body doesn't need the fuel now, unless you're going and doing exercise or you're going and doing, heavy duty things with your body. Most people are not. Most people are sitting in front of a computer nowadays. Most people are not walking to the store, walking to go and, gardening and doing daily things day in and day out. Most of the time, most people are sitting at a desk doing this more than 8 hours a day. So you see how that could compound, and then we just forget. It's like, oh, it was just one little cookie though. But that's the problem. So there's that. And then there's another piece that we don't talk about very often, and that's hormones. We are these beautiful composite machines that have a biochemical system going on. And our hormones can get out of whack by stress. Who hasn't had stress this year, right? Chronic stress leads to chronic inflammation, leads to chronic, right, compounding issues. And that really wreaks havoc on the hormones. The same with that sugar. That sugar is going to start to wreak havoc on the hormones. So hormones are another factor that we look at when there's a plateau. And you can do simple tweaks. So your basics of your sleep, and I'm always looking and checking with my clients on what's the sleep look like? What's your poop look like? Are you pooping? Are you, how's the hormonal system, the gastrointestinal system, the respiratory system, how are they functioning? How are you breathing? Are you, all these pieces, we want to look at all of those components. We don't want to just be looking at how many calories did you eat? How many calories did you burn? That is so simplifying of something so mundane and it really is not the way to go. So think this through it from a higher level, and you're going to start looking at breakthroughs as opportunities to become better, to become the next best version of yourself in whatever exercise thing you're doing. Let's talk about fitness and health plateaus. Let's talk about when you aren't seeing the results maybe that you had I do a major transformation program for my clients, and in 12 weeks we do a pretty radical transformation. And I've had clients go through it a couple, 3 times, and we'll see the plateaus. And then I'll know, and the whole point is to really tweak the whole body mechanism. There may be times where you've been pumping the iron and working out really hard, and then you're not seeing any change. That's really good indication that you probably need to change it up. And so I love incorporating, not just doing, superficial bicep curls, but instead doing full body movements where we're doing a lot of animal type of movements from the floor. We'll do bear crawls and Spider-Man and all kinds of fun movements, as opposed to just pumping iron, right? Doing pulls and pushes all day long. We want to be doing lots of lever movement, lots of core stabilization, lots of vestibular type of work. And when you start to combine those and use these pieces, it takes that plateau and starts up leveling your capacity for everything else in your life, which is really exciting because now your body is operating at a higher level, and then at a next higher level and a next higher level. So instead of looking at a plateau as, oh no, it's a problem, I want you to look at it as an opportunity, as a way to, again, up level. What's the next opportunity to up level? And for me, I have my own personal way of gauging that. With my clients, I'm using tracking and logs. What do you use? What do you do to track how you're doing? I think tracking is really an important piece. We see this with money. We see this, if you don't track money, it's really easy to burn through, right? If you don't track certain things, a lot of times, the one thing that folks will forget because they didn't track that day will be the deal breaker. And so we can start looking at that, and we forget because we go through our life and just blow through life so fast that we are not present to things that are going on. That's why I love tracking and really utilizing trackers. You can use a log, you can use a journal, you can use online trackers. There's countless ways to do it. Find what works for you and implement it and keep utilizing it, because I guarantee if you do, you're going to look back a week, a month, a year ago, and you're going to see some pretty cool progress. You're also going to see where there were plateaus, but if you made the tweaks, you're able to see where you went up and maybe had a little bit of a level off. You might even see those downturns. But if you are able to track it back, you can then see what was it that had me dip in my success? What has my success skyrocketing? And then you can reinforce what's working and you can release what's not working. That's the game plan. That's how I think you would best be served when you're dealing with a plateau. So don't be afraid of them. You can break through those plateaus, whether it's a weight loss plateau, whether it's a health and fitness goal. You can break through those plateaus. And if you want more help with that, specifically, I've broken it down in chunks and in specific areas for weight, specifically lining out some things that you can take action on. And you can grab that free guide at stephanajohnson.com. That's STEPHANA Johnson, JOHNSON.com, stephanajohnson.com, and breakthrough guide. I'll put the link in the chat because that'll be much easier for you to get from there. And then if you have any specific questions for me, be sure you tag me and I will answer them on